Looking for a new career? Welcome to Do HVAC Training Service Center in North Charleston. Enroll today in our comprehensive HVAC training hands-on field experience-based program, covering troubleshooting, maintenance, installation, and more on various HVAC systems and ductwork. We offer EPA and NAEP preparation and testing, along with various certifications. Enjoy payment options. Achieve certification in under 5 months. Enroll now for your new journey of skill development and career advancement. Log on to dewhvactrainingsc.com to inquire.
Hey, it's Storyworthy. Today on the show, singer Paige Bryan talks about her family vacation on a houseboat.
We are again stuck on a houseboat, which is like wee big with 8 of us, and we're just supposed to survive off of love. It's impossible. No, like 8 of us. It was insane. No, it's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. My dad now, in a fury, is attempting to go for it one last time. So he shifts the boat into full gears, and my mom and I are standing at the end of the houseboat screaming to him that there isn't enough space for him to clear us. But of course, we don't know what we're talking about, and he's right. So we stand there as we watch my dad come around, and we see the speedboat, and then we see 1 jet ski, 2 jet ski, 3 jet ski, boom, and we crash into the 4th jet ski.
Today on the show, singer Paige Bryan talks about a vacation on a houseboat with her family that goes terribly wrong. Stay close. Welcome to Storyworthy. My name is Christine Blackburn, and I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Whether you're a longtime fan of the show of almost 14 years or you're a new listener, welcome to Storyworthy. I hope you guys enjoyed the show last week. That was a story by model Angel Boris talking about how she became a Playboy centerfold. And it was a great story. So go back, you guys, and listen to Angel Boris talking about how she became a centerfold. It's a good story. I never heard a story about that before, so I really enjoyed it. But not today, you guys. Stick around now, because today I'm re-airing a show from singer Paige Bryan, who happens to be Sinbad's daughter. You guys know the comedian Sinbad, right? I met him once, by the way. We actually worked together, and he told me that his brother's name was Too Bad. Pretty funny, right? Anyway, Paige Bryan, great girl. She was on Storyworthy years ago, and I'm bringing back her story now because I think, why not? Why not air some of these fantastic stories that I've had on the show over the last 13 years? So I hope you guys enjoyed the story. And keep in mind, you can check out Paige Bryan at paigebryan.com, and she's also on Instagram at Paige Bryan. All right, you guys. And remember to check out storyworthypodcast.com and join my mailing list. I'm going to send out an email this week. It's been a little while. I like to touch base with Storyworthy fans, let you guys know what's going on, and I love hearing back from you. So you can always respond to the mailing list, and you can also check out MyLifeIn3Songs.com. You know that's my other podcast that's on Spotify exclusively because I talk to comedians about the 3 songs in their life that have impacted them. And then we listen to the song. That's the catch. We listen to the music. So in order to do that, I've got to use Spotify's catalog. And it works out very well. Recently, I had on Jason Stewart. And this year, 2023, has been just great for the show. So go over, you guys. Listen to past episodes of My Life in 3 Songs. I've had on Jimmy Pardo, Patton Oswalt, Judy Gold, all this year. Phil Hendry, an amazing group of comedians, and I'm really proud of that show as well. All right, you guys. Meantime, enjoy this story from singer Paige Bryan.
So the year is 2003, and it's the summer before I leave home for college. My family has always been big on trips since I was a little girl, and so at least once a year, we all gather together to take some poor city by storm. Our motto, which could really be on our family crest, would be, "We came, we saw, we conquered." Up until this point, we were kind of like the Disney World / tropical island type of vacationers. However, this particular year, my father gets the grand idea to switch things up. What does he suggest for his suburban loving, city-raised, bugs-hating family. Well, of course, nothing other than houseboating, because nothing says I love you more than being stuck on a boat in the middle of summer with a rich man's porta potty being passed off as a full bathroom. Now, don't get me wrong, although I was leery at first, understandably so, considering in order to get to the lake we were going to, we had to fly on a super small, sketchy plane to a town I've never heard of in the middle of nowhere, to then hop in an RV and drive what felt like 17 hours. It was probably like 2 or 3, but it felt like 17 to 20 hours before we even saw, and then out of nowhere, just is like dirt, mountain, and lake, and our boats, and other poor families who have come for this vacation as well. And so we finally arrive at our vacation destination. Gotta be honest, it did not seem like much at first, but once my mom had completely debugged the boat by, of course, poisoning us all with Lysol, I was finally starting to see my dad's vision. Now, it's a wonder to me that they just allow anyone to rent a massive houseboat with like absolutely no training whatsoever. Like, you don't have to read a book. You don't have to take a class. You don't even have to sign like a, hey, we're not responsible if you die kind of waiver. They like just take your money and you go. It's literally like, hey, here's a boat. Good luck. Hope we see you at the end of your trip. Literally, like, it was so sketchy the first day. Like, my family, we swore, like, they have the radios so you can, I guess, talk back to the people on land. And literally we heard what we swore was a family, like, crying for help. Now, we didn't know if, like, they were crying for help because they were, like, in danger or because they had been there for 6 days and they hated each other. We just couldn't tell. But it was like every so often you would just hear over the radio, like, get me out of here. Get me out of here. And it was terrifying. It was terrifying because this was all day one. So like we're sitting here day one, everyone's trying to not have an attitude. And by everyone, I mean myself, because my dad's really excited about this. And he is just very like much so priding himself on the fact as how quickly he is getting a hold of things. It actually did become fun. You know, we would spend our days swimming, jet skiing, and then at night my mom would cook and we would binge on every movie we ever wanted to watch. Like literally my dad brought a huge gym bag full of DVDs for us to just watch over and over and over. So I will have to say it was kind of the perfect way to spend some quality time with my family my last summer home. The rest of the trip got off pretty smoothly considering no one died. So we were feeling like houseboating kings. It was our last day. And of course they have like a whole list of everything you have to run down, from like the trash, where to put it, how to turn everything off, all this stuff. Apparently that's where everything decided to go wrong. At some point we couldn't find my brother like in the lake. We just couldn't find my brother. Didn't know where he was. And then my mom saying we're supposed to do this and we're saying we're not supposed to do that. We were supposed to turn something off. And then like my dad is sitting there swearing like, no, this button doesn't exist. This button doesn't exist. So of course, when your family gets panicked, what does it do? It just like erupts, like you all just turn on each other like a pack of wolves. And so we finally are arguing our entire way back to land and we make it. Turns out the button that my dad swore didn't exist was exactly where the booklet said it was. And my brother wasn't lost at all. He had just fallen asleep in the cabin and just didn't tell anybody. And my mom was at peace because her child was alive and she was proven right by the button being in existence. So we're cool. And so we're like, all right, we're leaving. We decide to get off the boat. And I somehow, in my klutzy manner, get off the boat. I step off and completely fall to the ground, thus breaking my ankle. Keep in mind, we're like 2 weeks away from me going to college. And I know you mentioned that I went to CSUN, but I actually transferred to CSUN after 2 years at Arizona State. So I broke my ankle to then go into 129-degree weather trying to be cute my freshman year of college. No fun whatsoever. But remember that like 2 to 3 hour drive in the RV to civilization? So imagine that your ankle is broken. Your mom has made a makeshift cast out of like shoe boxes and any cardboard that we could find and tape. So we're in a bumpy RV with a broken ankle. And in true teenager fashion, I was the ultimate drama queen. With every dip and turn, I swore my dad was purposely trying to kill me, like on purpose. And then we finally get to the hospital. And as soon as I'm patched up, my family comes outside and says, well, guys, can't wait to do it again next year. So what did we do? We did it again next year, literally. So let me tell you, this is the lesson in how to quit when you're ahead. Like, quit when you're ahead, because the first year it was bumpy, but we survived. We got through it. Broken bone, but I survived. So we go back the next year, this time to a different lake. And then we decide to just up the ante. So my dad so now on our houseboat, we now are in charge of hitching to it a speedboat, and not one, not two, not three people, but 4 jet skis. My dad's a pro. He's a pro. He's like, we got it. We've done this once. We can do it again. So here we are. And so I just want to point out that, and I think you guys mentioned, for starters, on a houseboat, there's really like no gears. There's no hey, shift to this and go this way, shift to that and go that way. So there's no real like giving it a good gassing to go forward or reverse or anything like that. So the start of our troubles came when, after a day of swimming, it was time to reattach all the jet skis to the houseboat. So everyone had their job. My mom was in charge of keeping the boat steady, while my dad was in charge of hitching the skis to each other and then the boat with the help of every single one of us kids. Of course, it was me, my brother, and my brother had brought some of his friends. So as I mentioned, a houseboat is limited in gears. So what should have been a simple task became near-death experience number 1 of this trip. So it is like literally virtually impossible to hitch anything onto a boat that keeps moving away from it. So every time we got close to the boat, like literally the hitch would be right in front of you and it would just float away. And all the while you're doing this while you're like treading water, because you're in the middle of a lake. So you're not standing up. So my mom had the great idea, in order to not let the boat get too far away, she would kind of like hit whatever gear there was. But what that would cause was what felt in our mind, this like tsunami of a flood of water that would come and literally one by one was taking all of us under. So literally we're all like, Mom, stop. And she's coming out in her sweet voice like, oh, should I not do that? Should I not do? Literally, like, it got to the point where one by one, we're sending each kid back to the boat because like arms are getting tired. Everyone's about to drown. And so, which it's making it harder to then hitch the jet skis, because with the more hands that we're sending back to the houseboat, now my dad has to use multiple hands to do 7,000 things. So he's got like 3 jet skis in one hand and the houseboat in another. And you're just watching him just trying to like literally, like, he had a look on his face like, if I just went under and never came back up, it probably would be good. Like, I probably would be fine. So eventually I got to the point where I was too tired. So my dad, being the superhero that he was just like, you're losing your wind. Go. I mean, it was total like telenovela. He was like, go back. I can do it. And I was like, no, you can't. I don't want to leave you. And he was like, I can do it. Like, with water coming up in our mouths, because my mom still thinks that shifting the gears is helping us, because she can't hear from as far out that we are that we're dying. So literally I'm like, I don't want to leave you. He's like, you have to go. You have to go. I can do it. And I was like, okay. He was like, just tell your mom, for God's sakes, to stop hitting the gears. And I'm like, all right. So then when I get on the boat, literally, as bad as it felt in the water, it was even worse watching it. So literally, you're watching all of this water come in like a tsunami-like wave over my dad. And you're just watching, like, my mom is panicking. I'm crying. Like, chaos has ensued because I'm swearing, like, this is how I lose my dad. I'm too young. I still need you. Literally. And like, it was the most dramatic thing ever. Like, my mom's yelling, just hitch the skis already. And I'm like, don't yell at him. He's drowning. And then he finally hitches the last ski and he makes his way to the boat. Of course, in silence, he says, no one say a word. And we didn't for the rest of the night. No one said a word. Like, we watched the movie in silence and everyone just went to bed. Like, day 1 conquered. We had some hiccups, but it was conquered. So day 2 gets off, no problems. We're fine. So day 3, we're like, hey guys, you know what? Let's not talk about the first day. Let's just go out and let's just make this one a new story, you know? So again, after a day of relaxing and swimming, like, you know, we were jumping off the top of the boat into the water, jet skiing, all this stuff. Of course, it's that dreaded time again to hook the jet skis onto the boat. So given the difficulty we faced last time, my dad decides he's going to have an alternate approach. So this time he wanted to actually be in the speedboat with someone with him, his second in command, if you will. And then what he was going to do was going to like just drive around in a circle. And every time he got close to the houseboat, his second in command would unhook a ski and hook it to the boat. In his mind, that made perfect sense. It made perfect sense to him to do this. So once again, my mom is in charge of making sure, the houseboat doesn't drift off too far. I am now this time on the boat as my mom's eyes and ears. So the first few attempts, of course, were fails. So now it didn't take long for my family to be at each other's throats. Because keep in mind, along with everything going wrong, we are again stuck on a houseboat, which is like wee big with 8 of us. Yeah. And we're just supposed to survive off of love. It's impossible. No, 8 of us. It was insane. No, it's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. My dad now, in a fury, is attempting to go for it one last time. So he shifts the boat into full gears. And my mom and I are standing at the end of the houseboat screaming to him that there isn't enough space for him to clear us. But of course, we don't know what we're talking about. And he's right. So we stand there as we watch my dad come around and we see the speedboat. And then we see 1 jet ski, 2 jet ski, 3 jet ski, boom. And we crash into the 4th jet ski. It was awesome. Literally, now we're sitting there because we trashed into it so hard that it managed to wedge itself under the boat. It was I don't even know, at the end of the trip when we turned all of our stuff in, they were like, how did you even do this? And we were like, don't ask. I don't know. So it's under the boat. So literally, we're sitting here in the middle of the lake, all hands on deck, trying to desperately remove a jet ski from under our houseboat. This is proving to be quite the daunting task because we are doing this like I said, in the middle of a body of water. So while we're trying to delodge it, we're also trying to tread water so we don't drown because all of us are so prideful that everyone thought they could do this without a life jacket. I don't know. It's just pride, really. It's a hell of a thing. Literally, in situations like this, it's really funny because with any family or group of people, when something goes wrong, you know how each individual person is like, no. If we do it this way, this is how it's going to work. But actually, no one's idea ever works. No one's idea ever works. So we've been going at it for 30 minutes, trying to get this jet ski out from under the boat. And then all of a sudden, we realize no one's treading water anymore. And in fact, we're standing straight up. So we stop and my mom's like, guys, why are we standing up? And we look and we realized while in our attempt to delodge the jet ski, we stopped focusing on steering the houseboat and we have now beached ourselves sideways on shore. That's basically what's happened. So at this time, you're probably thinking this is about to be the end of this family. Everyone hates each other, but we just we surrendered and we just said, you know what, forget it. This is where we're staying for the night. My mom was just who wants dinner? So enough time has passed and now we're just sitting there. We're reminiscing on the day and can't help but laugh. We just cannot help but laugh about these series of events. So once again, you would think peace has been restored in our family. However, beware of the calm before the storm, because as my dad is barbecuing and my mom is cooking and the kids were playing games, it's just like a scene out of a Brady Bunch movie. It was beautiful. All of a sudden you hear boom, pop, 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 boom. Our grill blew up. So, of course it did. We don't know how. We don't know why. We don't know what we did. But as we look outside and see this large grill just on fire, it was none of us budged. We all just looked at it. And then my mom and dad were like, is everyone okay? And we're like, yeah. And they were like, okay, eat your dinner. Literally it was one of those surrenders. I don't even care. I don't care anymore. The grill has blown up. No one's died. Literally in that moment, the smoke that was coming in, it felt like we were in our own rendition of Backdraft. I was just what is happening? How does this even happen? So once we've taken note that everyone is live and does in fact have all their body parts, we just start dying laughing. And as smoke is clearing over the horizon, we just decide, you know what, guys, let's watch our movies and just get ready to go to bed. So my brother and his friends decide that they want to sleep out on the top deck of the boat because honestly, one thing that was awesome about this trip was that the sky, which you don't get a lot of in LA, well, a lot of you never get in LA, the sky was just so clear. So it was like you could see every star in the sky. It was beautiful. So they want to sleep on the top deck. And so with everyone tucked away, grateful to be alive and still loving one another, we close our eyes and just as we're about to hit that deep sleep, we are awakened by the biggest, loudest bang of thunder you've ever heard, instantly followed by what seems like hurricane rains. And what we realized in that moment was that the people we rented the houseboat from forgot to mention that it was monsoon season.
Was that a good story or what? I knew you guys would enjoy it. So funny. So many things went wrong. And they're lucky they made it out of there. I'll tell you that. And I wonder if they ever went back on a houseboat for vacation. Very fun. I know that Lake Havasu is very popular. That's like a whole thing out here. If you're in Nevada, California, this area, people love to do that in the summer. Anyway, you guys, I sure hope you're having a good holiday season. Enjoy yourselves this week. I hope you find a little bit of peace and relaxation. And I look forward to continuing Storyworthy in 2024 and all the fun that brings. All right, you guys. Again, thank you so much for listening to Storyworthy. I really appreciate it. If it weren't for you guys, there would not be a podcast. So thank you again and have a wonderful Christmas. Thanks so much again. And on behalf of Paige Bryan, my name is Christine Blackburn saying, make it a storyworthy week.
Thanks for joining us on the Storyworthy podcast. We'll be back next week with all new stories. Subscribe to Storyworthy on iTunes and visit the Storyworthy website at storyworthypodcast.com.